Commander Wolf is known among fans of Star Wars The Clone Wars for two things: being evidence that Dave Filoni is a furry, and having a missing eye. Beginning in the show's second season, Wolf has a big gash on his face and a pale cybernetic right eye, which gives him a distinctive look. However, Wolf didn't always have this scar. In his first appearance, in fact, he had both of his eyes. How he lost his right eye was never shown on screen, but it was a sacrifice made in one of the Wolfpack's grittiest missions, the Battle of Khorm, which we'll be discussing today.
Attention, Sergeant on deck!
Khorm was an icy mid-rim world close to the border between Republic and Separatist space. Khorm was initially neutral, but it wouldn't be allowed to stay that way. It was one of only 3 planets in the galaxy where Agrocite could be found, a valuable mineral that was extremely useful for the production of starfighters and weapons technology. Recognizing his homeworld's strategic significance, the Khormai warlord Unger Gaut seized control of the planet and made an alliance with the CIS, planning to make a killing selling Khorm's Agrocite to the Confederacy. Under Gaut's rule, many Khormai were enslaved and forced to work in the planet's Agrocite mines, toiling away to fulfill the Confederacy's quotas. In collaboration with Gaut, the Confederacy sent an army to Khorm, turning it into a stronghold world. Khormai resistance movements formed, but they made little progress against the CIS droid army. But the Republic wasn't going to stand for this. Not for the sake of the Khormai, mind you, but because they wanted Agrocite for themselves. Less than a year into the war, they dispatched an army under Jedi Generals Plo Koon, Kit Fisto, and Tort to take the planet. The Republic force dispatched to Khorm was massive and included some of the GAR's most elite units. In orbit, the Republic had a fleet of Venator-class Star Destroyers and Acclimated-class assault ships led by Admiral Wheeler from the Star Destroyer Resilient, backed by squadrons of V-19 Torrents, BTLB Y-Wing bombers and LA-AT gunships. The Republic's ground forces were drawn from several units. This included the Wolfpack, a detachment of the 104th Battalion led by Commander Wolf, and the Devil Dogs, an elite unit from the 44th Special Operations Division led by Captain Sharp. Republic ground forces were backed by ATRT and ATTE Walkers, and the Republic's commanders were assisted by Captain Kendall Ozzel, a career officer and Nepo baby who you might know from his future as the incompetent commander of Darth Vader's flagship, the Executor. The Confederacy wasn't planning on making it easy for the Republic to take Khorm. They didn't have a fleet in orbit, but they had a weather control station on Khorm's surface that prevented ships in orbit from targeting ground installations and made air support a non-factor. On the ground, they had armies of B-1 and B-2 battle droids backed by BX commando droids, DSD-1 dwarf spider droids, armored assault tanks, NR and 99 persuaded class droid tanks, and J-1 semi-autonomous proton cannons. Taking Khorm would be a slog. Despite the artificial storms Khorm was experiencing, Republic forces were able to establish a landing zone on the planet and deploy their ground forces. The Jedi met with the leaders of the Khormai resistance and decided to make their priority the liberation of Khormai slaves, while Ozzel and the clones went after the Agrocite. Republic forces then began advancing toward the primary Agrocite processing facility where Unger Gaut was located at the time. They almost immediately came under fire from Separatist artillery, however, which damaged several ATTEs. Ozzel ordered his clone troopers to disembark to protect the ATTEs, but this only exposed the clones to fire from droid infantry in the trenches surrounding the facility. It fell to the Jedi to clean up Ozzel's mess. Kit Fisto and Plo Koon took out the droids in the trenches, while Tort took out the cannons. Seeing this, Unger Gaut fled the facility for a nearby Agrocite mine, which was the CIS's base of operations on the planet, where he contacted Count Dooku and requested assistance. Dooku dispatched a Sarge Ventress to help him out. Meanwhile, the Republic took the processing facility and established it as their forward operating base. From there, they planned to attack the Agrocite mine and liberate the planet. Ozzel advocated for a direct assault, but the Jedi were against this, as it would result in extensive clone casualties. They believed a different approach was needed. As luck would have it, the arrival of a Sarge Ventress gave them an idea. As Ventress arrived in system, Admiral Wheeler dispatched a pair of V-19 Torrents to shoot her down before she was able to land on Khorm. They pursued Ventress into the planet's atmosphere, where they were able to witness the planet's storms open up for her. The storm closed right after she passed, destroying the two fighters, but this gave the Republic a crucial piece of information. The Confederacy had a weather control station on Khorm. If this were disabled, the Republic would be able to deploy air support for the assault on Gout's stronghold, dramatically improving the odds. Fisto and Plo Koon took the Devil Dogs and set off to destroy the facility, leaving Tort and Ozzel behind with the Wolfpack. Once the Devil Dogs and Jedi had set off, Ventress and Gout ordered a counterattack on the Republic's new base, besieging it with tanks and spider droids. Republic forces attempted to hold the line, but Ventress was able to infiltrate the facility and destroy parts of it with explosives. She then assassinated Tort, leaving Ozzel in command of Republic forces. Ozzel, by this point, was on the verge of panic, and instead of hunkering down and defending what was left of the base, he ordered his forces to carry out a countercharge. Wolf and the Wolfpack went along with him despite their misgivings, and, at first, Ozzel's plan seemed to work, and Separatist forces began to pull back. But then spider droids buried in the snow revealed themselves and attacked the flanks of Ozzel's forces, destroying all the ATTEs and nearly wiping out the army. Ozzel surrendered to Ventress, who took him, Wolf, and 4 clones prisoner. After executing 2 of the clones, Ventress intimidated Ozzel into telling her the Jedi's plan. She then set off to lay a trap for the Jedi. Ventress and a team of commando droids attacked the Jedi and the Devil Dogs not far from the weather control station. She battled the Jedi to a draw before using the Force to cause an avalanche which buried all combatants except her and some of her droids. Around the same time, Ozzel, Wolf, and the surviving clones managed to escape captivity and steal an AAT, and Ventress, believing the Jedi to be dead, set out to kill them. But the Jedi had survived, though Plo Koon had broken his arm and many of the clones were dead. Additionally, the explosives they had planned to use to take out the weather control station were gone. Nonetheless, the Jedi decided to press on. While Ozzel and the clones returned to the Republic's original staging area, where a rear guard had been left behind, Ozzel ordered them to back up and return to orbit, hoping to stage a counterattack from space. But the storm had intensified to the point where this wasn't possible, as much of the Republic's heavy equipment had straight up frozen. As Republic forces tried to thaw out their walkers, Ventress arrived with another army, hoping to break the Republic's foothold on Khorm for good. Meanwhile, the Jedi and Devil Dogs reached the weather control station, where they devised a plan to use the station to call down a fierce storm on itself, which they hoped would destroy the station in the process. This plan worked, and the weather control station was destroyed. The storm broke immediately, allowing Admiral Wheeler to deploy air support to Ozzel's position. Ventress was forced to retreat, and Ozzel received reinforcements, allowing him and Wolf to commence an attack on the Agrocite mine, now with air support. The Jedi and Devil Dogs went ahead to scout out the facility, and they quickly realized that Gout and Ventress were planning to blow up the facility and kill all the Khormai slaves within it if it fell into Republic hands. Due to Separatist communications jammers, they were unable to relay this information to Ozzel or Wheeler, who began the attack as planned. However, Republic forces were met by a set of new weapons Gout had been working on in the mines, a set of 3 extremely powerful Agrocite cannons. These obliterated half of the attacking Republic force and shot down an acclimator, throwing the assaults into chaos. Ozzel was knocked out, and command fell to Wolf, who ordered a retreat. The Jedi and the Devil Dogs, who had infiltrated the mine by this point, developed a new plan. Koon and most of the clones would free the Khormai, while Fisto and Captain Sharp blew up the cannons. Fisto ordered Wolf to carry out another frontal assault so he and Sharp could climb up the cannon's barrels when they lowered to target the clones. With time running out, Sharp sacrificed himself to blow up the cannons, while Plo Koon and his team liberated the Khormai. The blast from the cannons killed Unger Gout, and Republic forces smashed the mine's defenses and began to clear out the facility. Ventress attempted to detonate the mine as planned, but Wolf was able to catch her and destroy the detonator. He paid for this with his eye, which Ventress cut out as she fled the facility. In short order, Khorm came under Republic control and the battle was won, albeit at a high cost. As for Captain Ozzel, he woke up pretty much right as the battle ended and almost immediately made a report to Chancellor Palpatine claiming credit for everything. He was rewarded with command of a Star Destroyer, while the real heroes of the battle went unrecognized. So that's the story of the Battle of Khorm, the Wolfpack's grittiest mission. But what do you think? Are there other lesser known Clone Wars battles you'd like us to discuss? Let us know what you think about Khorm, the Wolfpack, and the Devil Dogs in the comments section below. As always guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.